This week on Camera Talk, we're not looking at vintage stuff. No, not this week. We're going to visit our Sony line. As you know, I use the Sony a7R II mostly for my big sensor photography, and I usually use vintage lenses with this camera. But this week, I'm looking at some of my Sony-Zeiss lenses. But one in particular is the 35mm f2.8. And again, it's the collaboration with Sony and Zeiss that created this lens. So let's look at it together. Are you ready for this, mister? All right, so let's get it on.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always coming down.
This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott and Dylan. That's right. Dylan has become a full-time host. Well, he may miss a few here and there depending on his nap schedule and things like that. But for the most part, he's been pretty determined to be part of my videos from this point. So this week we're looking at, as I said in the intro, you know, my Sony Zeiss 35mm f2.8, and its designation FE, ZA, or ZA if you're from the British Commonwealth. And what does that mean? What is FE? Well, if you know anything about Sony lenses, you know, they began back in the day when they were doing interchangeable lenses. They were using an A mount, which was kind of a leftover from the Minolta era, and then they switched to an E mount. Now we have the E mount for APS-C lenses, and then we have the FE for their full frame E lenses. So that's the difference between the two. Now the E mount themselves are interchangeable. You know, you can use an APS-C E mount on a full frame body, and you know, in the camera you can switch it so that it picks up the fact that it's an APS-C size lens, and then it crops the use of the sensor area so that it accommodates that. So it's pretty cool technology, and that's in my a7R II. In today's 2022 versions, you don't even need to do that. It'll just automatically sense that it's a different size lens and make the adjustments accordingly. But anyway, so that's the FE. So what does ZA stand for, mister? ZA, as in Zaza. Well, the Z is probably Zeiss, right? Now the A is one of the ones that's kind of a mystery. It could be Alpha. You know, the alpha designation for their full frame bodies. No, it's not just for full frame bodies. For their mirrorless cameras, and so it could be Zeiss Alpha, or it could be Zeiss approved. You know, again, there's nothing written in stone about what that ZA stands for, but those are the two likely guesses anyway of what they could mean. And with that said, too, Zeiss approval, what is that all about? You know, this is a lens with a Zeiss logo on it. We have the 55 with the Zeiss logo on it, and we have the 85 Batis with the Zeiss logo on it. But what's the difference between these? Well, these two here, and the particular one I'm looking at today, the 35, are collaborations with Zeiss from Sony. So therefore, they are Sony-built Zeiss lenses. And that's where, you know, a lot of people get confused out there. Like, what's the difference between a Zeiss and a Sony Zeiss? Well, again, these are Zeiss Sony collaborations on the design and whatnot. But
like big butts and I cannot lie.
Zeiss has to give their approval before they're released into production. So all the testing equipment and everything is designed by Zeiss themselves. Now we have something like my 85 Batis, which is designed for Sony by Zeiss. So again, this is designed by Zeiss, built by Zeiss for Sony. So those are the differences. See, in the part number, there is no ZA in the Batis, and that's how you can kind of differentiate the two types of lenses that are out there. So quality-wise, the Sony built stuff is just as good, because Sony is pretty darn good at making lenses these days. I mean, their GM lines are top of the line out there. So they're very good at doing what they do, but they do it with Zeiss precision and Zeiss techniques and testing and equipment and everything else out there. Even with the T-star coating, it's all pretty much Zeiss down to the letter, except Zeiss are not building it. It's almost like Cosina, building Zeiss lenses for the Leica lines out there. So anyway, so Zeiss is kind of all over the place. They're either with collaborations, or they're lending off their designs, or they're building their own stuff. So anyway, I'm not going to go into the history of Zeiss, because they have a huge history out there. So they'll save that for a rainy day, so to speak. But anyway, as I said, today's focus is on the 35mm f2.8, and as far as the Sony Zeiss lenses go, the lens line goes, the 35 was the first release in 2014. Prior to that, Sony, had its own lenses and other third-party Sigma lenses and Tamrons and so forth and so on. But as far as Sony Zeiss collaboration of lens design goes, this was the first one. So the 35 2.8, and the 55 1.8 was the next in line. So anyway, so quick overview with this little guy, and as you can see, it is a fairly small lens. It is roughly the size of, I have a Canon Nifty 50 up there, the 51.8. It's about the same size as that. It's very light. It's actually the lightest 35mm lens that's out there for the Sony lineup, and that's including all the third-party producers and so forth and so on. Again, it's small. It's almost pancake. The weird, dude, don't play with it. The weird thing that people do talk about is the hood. The hood looks almost like a cap. It's very short. It's actually a two-piece. I don't want to take it apart because I'm only one-handed here, but it's a vented shade as well as a full-blown hood, I guess. But it's a funky design.
Funky coma data.
There's a lot of people who don't like it. They say, well, don't even bother with the thing. But I would tend to disagree with that. I've never had a problem with it. Lens hoods are good for a number of things besides keeping stray light out of the lens. They're also good for protecting the end of the lens, that front element. So if I bang it up against Dylan's head here, it's not going to damage the lens. Might damage your little head, wouldn't it? But anyway, the hood is the hood, and it's it's the weirdest hood that they have in their lineup. Most hoods are like this, So it is what it is. Build quality, again, it's a Zeiss design. Well, Zeiss and Sony designed together, but it's all metal. The lens hood and its cute little cap, lens cap. What size is it anyway? 40.5 millimeter. Now, if that's a weird size, I don't know, what else would be.
That's weird.
But it clips right in there, and it's very small, very cute, so to speak. So again, the focusing ring is nice. There's no other switches on it at all. It's a very simple design, and it's light. As I said, it's the lightest one. It's 119 grams. That's pretty darn light, mister. I mean, you could, with the cap on it and the end cap, you can carry this around in your pocket, and you wouldn't even know it was there, basically, besides you have this lump of something in your pocket. But it's a great all-purpose walk-around lens. Of course, 35 millimeters, pretty diverse focal range to be carrying around. You could do portraitures, you could do landscape, you could do street photography, you could do a lot of different things with it. So it is a cool lens to have with you. Now, f2.8 sharpness is very good. Bokeh is okay. I mean, 2.8 is not exactly world famous for creating wild bokeh, but the bokeh quality, the bokeh is the quality of the out of focus background, but that quality is
Rich, smooth, buttery bokeh.
is decent, Again, it's nothing to write home about. But as far as sharpness goes, 2.8 is very good. To get sharpest of all, not sharpest of all, but the sharpest point from 2.8 is f4. So f4, f5.6 is going to be sharpest. You're going to get increased contrast and resolution and whatnot. So how does it handle Charabic aberrations? Charabic?
That's not even a word!
Chromatic aberrations, and so forth, spherical aberrations and everything else. Not bad at all. I mean, you have to really pixel peep to really be looking for any purple or green fringing anywhere, right, mister?
Ew!
Purple or green fringing. Other than that, I think that's kind of really all I wanted to go on about with that, because it's a recommended lens.
9 doctors out of 10 doctors probably agree.
For those who have an Alpha, Sony Alpha series camera, it's an excellent little go-to lens, all-purpose lens. So as always, let me get you a shot of the end of my Canon M50, the kit lens. It's a 15 to 45 EFM lens, so I always focus in on the nameplate on the end of the lens to see how sharp I can get it from this distance. It's about not quite 2 meters from the camera. But first, let me go over the specs, right? Specs. We need specs. How many elements? How many groups? 7 elements in 5 groups. So it's your very typical sonar design. Its close focus is 35 centimeters. Not bad. Again, there's a lot of, like, my rangefinders are all 70 centimeters or a meter. The 85 is what is it, 60 centimeters, I think. So anyway, it's 35. It's pretty good. How many blades? We have 7 aperture blades. So again, the bokeh balls, as we like to say. How do you like your bokeh balls? You like them round?
Say, everybody haven't seen my balls. They're big and salty and brown.
Yeah. You don't want to like those hexagonal versions. So getting them round as possible is great. And I said it's 119 grams, so it's super light, right? You feel the body of the A7R2, but you don't feel the lens, the weight of the lens. So anyway, No. Let's get a shot of the end of the lens here. So let me hold on, I forgot I had this on auto. Wait a second. Alright, that's as sharp as we're going to get right there. 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Yeah! So that was at f2.8. Let's go to, as we say, f5.6 and see how that works out for us. All right, are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Yeah! So that was at 5.6. So we have f2.8 and we have f5.6, and those are the two I like to always compare with, right? So how about we get some pictures of you know who out there at f2.8 right here. That's right. And how about some pictures of Dylan at 5.6? Right here. That's right. And how about some random stuff, right? You want to take some random pictures of other stuff that we've used the lens for, and we can show those off right here. All right, a little delayed there, huh? So anyway, so that was the Sony-Zeiss 35mm 2.8 sonar FEZA. Nice long name, right? So how about our little plug? We gotta get our plugs in there, right? What kind of software do we use to edit our photos? We use Luminar. Huh? Luminar. Luminar AI, Luminar Neo. That's right. And Neo is the latest, greatest version of the software. It's kind of a combination of AI and Luminar 4. They come up with. They're still releasing sections of it, but we'll see how the little, well, it may not be little, the conflict in Ukraine may affect that, since that's where the company is located. But they have some pretty cool stuff with their AI. Power line removal, dust and spot removal, scene relighting, things like that are all AI. Just one click of the button and the program analyzes your photos and removes those things with one click of the button. Gone, right? Gone. So pretty cool. If you want to get yourself a copy, that would help us out. If I could only speak English, it would help us out greatly as well, because we get a little kickback from that, right? Everybody loves kickbacks. Yay! Kickbacks from Luminar. So click below click below, and if you buy the software, you save $10 and we get $10. Hey, it's a win-win for everybody, right? Yeah, more cookies for Dylan. Yay! And while we're at it, you can help support our channel and subscribe, right? Yeah, so why don't you subscribe? And let's do the right hand together, baby. Subscribe. And how about two hands at the same time? Subscribe. All right, and what else does YouTube like besides subscribers? They also like likes, right? The thumbs up thing. So give us a thumbs up so we can show you the thumbs up girls. Thumbs up. All right. Do you like the thumbs up girls? You like that blonde one in front, don't you? Yeah, I knew you did. What else can we say? Why are we here? Well, this is Modesty Photography, right? Modesty Photography, where we're here to introduce you to something you may not have known before. Maybe you never heard of the 35 2.8. Well, now you have. We also talk about vintage lenses. We talk about cameras. Talk about Dylan all the time, don't we? Talk about photographic tips and tricks and ways to save money. We talk about really anything to do with photography. If you've watched any of my earlier videos, you may have seen some rather pricey stuff too that we have. So it's not all about saving money, but it's a big part of it. Uh-oh, ding dong, who's here? Maybe it's somebody delivering food for us, huh? Or cookies for Dylan, that would be nice. So anyway, yeah, Modesty Photography. And I got to remember to tell everybody, stay safe out there, right? Stay safe because you belong here. And where do you belong? Where do they belong? At Camera Talk with Dr. Scott and Dylan. That's right, and Dylan. So remember, thanks for dropping by. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for the thumbs up. And we'll see you next week when we'll look at a new video, or look at a new video. You'll look at a new video. We'll make you another video based on one of the things we just talked about. So take care, and we'll see you next week. So say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Here I am in Vietnam.